All right. Um, like I said, at this point, I will continuously make videos about the things they've done, the manipulation they made me experience, the disturbing things that make me think, and how they made me think of things. And the things they do, it's just, it's just like they orchestrate things in order to manipulate you to experience thoughts that they're creating. It's obvious they do this perfect type of torture. That I made it clear that I don't, I'm validated beyond the nth, and every time they they do this thing, they immediately tell me about I'm gonna be screaming and I'm gonna be tortured. You see this picture of this little girl, so nasty. The way they orchestrated this thing throughout the whole night, what they do is they crank up your libido, they manipulate your libido, and your libido is so manipulated that it's just extreme. So you think about, at least the way I'm thinking about, is like I need to get rid of my libido. How do you do that? Unfortunately for me, the only way I know how to do this is to watch adult content and have some kind of release, right? Using watching adult content, right? So I'm like, but I hate that. It makes me feel, doesn't make me feel good. And while I'm doing that, they usually manipulate me, right? And they usually do these things to me to degrade me, and not even degrade, disturb me while I'm watching. You can only imagine the kind of thought they make me have while I'm like climaxing. So it's disgusting. So I'm like, I have this back and forth. It's like, is it worth doing it? Am I sure I do that or not? And because they do these nasty things with my libido throughout the whole night, make me think of like something sexual, and then make me think of children, and then crank up my libido while I'm thinking about this sexual moment with this woman, and then make me think of like all nights. That's all they do. What happens is you are end up like your libido becomes extremely intense. It's disgusting. At this point, I wish there's something that I could take to completely get rid of my libido, because the way they use your libido, you're gonna hear, they use your libido against you to mess with you. So it's disturbing. I'm like doing this back and forth in my head. It's like, I don't know, I don't know if I should. I don't think I'm gonna do it, but I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I don't think I'm gonna do it. Should I do it? Like you have this back and forth, because I don't want to. It makes me feel bad. Like it makes me feel like not good, and at the same time, is when it happens, they implant some disturbing thoughts, right? So I opened my YouTube, just thinking, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I don't think I'm gonna do it. I'm still having this back and forth, and I see this video real quick. It's about like this woman with like some kind of like lions and whatever. And I'm really into animals, and there was this woman in it and everything else. So I open this thing, right? Not open, but I start watching this video, and the first thing I see that comes up, you see this toddler. And immediately, they're going to do the perfect type of torture. And you see, and they're like, in my mind, I start trying to connect what those earlier thoughts to her. And then it starts to be like, oh, but remember what you did when you were a kid? Because when I was a kid, I did something stupid to myself as a child. A child that does stupid things. And it's just, it's something for them. They're like, oh, you see, that's something that we can. No, you forced me to do this. You forced me to have these thoughts, these perfect thoughts. When you talk about me as a child who did something impulsively, as a kid can do, but they try to like create something sexual with this little girl. Honestly, it was not as bad as they do sometimes. I have to like gauge things sometimes. The way they made me react to this kid was not as bad. It felt almost like they kind of turned it off a little bit, right? It was not as aggressive, because sometimes the stimulation is intense, but that's what they do. And then they're like, oh, you're gonna be tortured, you're gonna be doing this. Because when they say that, after they manipulate you, and obviously they orchestrate these thoughts, because they knew this moment was gonna come when I was gonna see this video, and this little girl is gonna show up, and that was that. And so they orchestrate these moments to then say, oh, you see, that's proof. No, you do these pedophilia things. I'm almost 1,000 videos in, and the reason why, like I said, I make these videos is to show the patterns of what they do. every time this thoughts and manipulations and the way the orchestrate things are going to happen, I'm going to make videos. Because one thing is for sure, I'm going to make it obvious that this is the things they do. They force you to experience disgusting pedophilia things in thoughts, and create moments that are disturbing. So these moments, it was obviously orchestrated. They orchestrate everything. They knew I was going to go on my YouTube, and the first thing I was going to see was like this video, and this little girl was going to show up. But they were creating this thought, this back and forth. Because I was already like, I'm not going to do it, but they were trying to like do this back and forth. Should you do that? And the reason why they were trying to create those thoughts is because this kid was going to show up, and then they were going to they were going to be talking about you as a kid. And I mean you, I mean me as a child. And so you see, that's proof. You'll scream. You'll be just like, listen, you forced me to have this back and forth thoughts. You then try to create these thoughts to be aimed toward this child. And then you talk about me as a kid. These people torture children. These people are renowned for this pedophilia type of torture. This is this disturbing things they do. But you gotta be strong. Because they then talk about, oh, now you pay for what you did as a kid. You understand these people not only do pedophilia type of torture, but actually torture children. Right? And then they try to disorient you and say the annoying things like, oh, it's not real. We don't torture children. It's not real. We don't do pedophilia type of torture. Obviously, they do torture people, including children, including women. And they do the pedophilia type of torture. And this was just orchestrated for you to start having these thoughts and just connect sexual moments or sexual things to kids. And then when that happens, they start making me think of, remember what you did when you were a child. This is the things they do. I think I'm video 912 or so. If you look at a lot of my videos, you see the stories like that. Oh, similar to that, versions of this. I looked at this child, they do this stimulation. I look at this, like always something, attaching something sexual to children. And it's disgusting. And sometimes the dialogue will be like, wait, in real life, like if it was you, like if you're not being manipulated by us, like how would you react? Like this stupidity like that. It would definitely not drive anything sexual. Matter of fact, it probably kill any sexual drive. It would turn things into like, something non-sexual. But now it's the opposite. They do these things and then they crank up my libido and they do these nasty things. You know, at night it was so disgusting because what they were doing is like they make me think of sexual moments with a woman, right? And then it will make me imagine, because I'm working for this drug that does for children. I work for a company that works for like manufacture drugs for children, right? And I can't even go on that website because there's kids on the web. It's so disgusting. And the kids are kids with diseases. Like, so it's not even like just a regular kid. It's a kid with not only a child, but a poor child with like this disease, like serious disease, serious condition. And so they will make me think of this sexual moment with a woman, and then make me think of like these kids that do have those kids that have this those kids that have these conditions, these serious conditions. So let me repeat that because as you can see, it's getting hard for me to speak. So they will make me have sexual thoughts about a woman, start cranking up my libido, and then start making me think of kids on that website with those serious condition. And then they'll be like, oh, I'll be watching you getting raped. I was like, I'd rather get raped than do what you guys do. But what happened is by the end of by this morning, or even your libido is cranked up because your libido is manipulated by them. They use your libido in this way to torment you. And so that's when those thoughts will become like, okay, should I do something to get rid of my libido? Should I watch adult content? I don't want to do it. I honestly don't want to. It's going to be nasty. They're going to do some things to me while I'm trying to do that. You know, like you're having those debates in your own brain, right? And then they start driving those debates, right? Because at that point, I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Right? You know, I'm not going to do it. And you already like accepted that you're not going to do this. But they still try to have this back and forth. And I open, and this comes up. I open my YouTube and this video comes up. And it's funny. Actually, I should be honest about that. The woman, like, as you can see, I think you can see that in the. I don't know if it's can be shown, but if you see, oh my gosh, if you see the thumbnail, you see actually a woman who's not actually that bad looking, right? And so you see that woman with like lines, and then immediately the video starts with this kid, and it's like, oh, it's disgusting. But that's the things I have to deal with. And then they're like, oh no, you're gonna scream, remember what you did, you pay enough for what you did as a kid. Because whether it was a kid that did something stupid to myself, it's just something embarrassing, but it's something a child can do. And it was very impulsive. It's something I'm now proud of. But I understand children are children, and children can do stupid things like that, especially when it was just one moment that just never happened again. It was just a moment of a child doing something stupid, impulsive, and never happened again. So now these people do these things, disgusting things to me, and do these disturbing stimulations and thoughts toward little toddlers. Like, it's just so nasty. I mean, all kids, to be honest, but the toddlers is even worse. And I have to deal with these nasty things. So for me, because what they want what they want you to experience is, like, they want you to identify to these things. They want you to identify with this manipulated moment I just talked about, where they make me have this dialogue back and forth about after conditioning, after cranking up my libido and doing this thing, and make me think of kids, and then crank up my libido and doing these things, right? Literally conditioning your brain to look at kids in a sexual way. Then they want you to identify, to identify yourself and feel guilty for the things they manipulate you to experience. Right, you understand how nasty it is? They literally force you to experience pedophilia moments, and then they try to make you feel guilty for it. But I'm also validated that they torture children. But because sometimes what they do is like, oh, now you're going to serve for what you did as a kid. Right? You understand that these people talking to you do torture children. They hurt those kids in so many ways, sexually included. So you see them for what they are. And like, no, now you're going to the parents. Like, trash. You're a trash human being that not only force adult people to think about kids in these disturbing ways, but you actually hurt kids. And they're like, you're not human. It's like, what are you then? Because I don't know, if you're human and that's what you do to people, I'd rather not be human. You're a clown, you're a coward, you're lowlifes, and you're trash, and you're a bunch of pedos. And your life consists of orchestrating things like that. What a low-lifeness. I'll kill myself if I do the things that these people do. And they want you to identify with this. That's why I make videos. That's why you're going to see it more and more videos. Every time they do these things to me, I will make videos about it. Because what they want you to identify, they want you to identify with these things. They want you to be like, oh my gosh, you see, we caught you. No, you've just orchestrated these disturbing things. Look at my videos. This 900 videos is about the same thing. Over and over and over. Every time. Over and over. Some kind of nasty thoughts, stimulations, pedophilia things that you do to me. Even when they talk about me I put a picture of me as a kid around the time they say that's when they whatever I did to myself. I even put the fact that I know that you guys torture children. I know these people torture children. I know they're radiate kids. So when they try to be like, nah, you pay, I'm like, oh, somebody who's involved in a program that does these horrible things to kids, torturing children sexually, and all the other ways, and you think I don't believe this? These people are delusional. What happens is, when I see them, right, I always bring up the fact that I know they torture children. And whatever they orchestrate me to think of how, and it's just, yes, you manipulate my thoughts to go that way, one way or another. Sometimes it's just like pure stimulation. Sometimes it's just like, honestly, it's not as bad. It's not as bad as it could, because they could have cranked up my libido completely. What they just did is just they orchestrated me to have those dialogues back and forth when this kid comes up, and then be like, oh, they remember what you did as a child. Trash ass. Usually what they do is like stimulation, pure libido stimulation. Death comes to all of us. Like I said, I was talking to this perp yesterday, and she was like, try to say like, oh, death is not in our hands, And they try to do something, to create their exaggeration. It's like death is not in our hands, and I'm like, I know what she's trying to say. It's like, yeah, my death is in your hand, but your death is not, and that's the surprise about it. That's the magic. Because as much as my life is orchestrated, manipulated, as like I said, everything that's happening to me is orchestrated. As a target individual, everything is controlled and orchestrated. They're gonna make me do this tomorrow. They know, like, the videos I'm gonna watch is already like, whatever's gonna come on my browsing on YouTube. It's going, everything, and they create those orchestrated moments, and they make you think this way. And they're like, no, we just mapped it. like this is not a program where they map people. The map is initial, is what they do initially. But what they do is control and manipulate your life as a target individual. Everything is controlled and manipulated. They are literally driving you to insanity. That's what they do. They are manipulate your thoughts to be disturbing, to break you down. That's what they do. And they use these childlike people, which are psyops, to agitate you, to see what it is, to see everything else but what it is. These people, even if they sound like children, are involved in a program that torture children. Right? They do horrible things to women. You know that. I make videos about them. They don't want to be seen because I'm going to take a picture of them, and I'm going to be clearly saying these people, as young as they are involved in a program that does these horrible things to women and children, and very pedophilia-centric. That's why they don't like to be seen. They know I identify them for what they actually do, not what they want to be presenting themselves as. So to all my target individual, my job is, because I'll never identify with these nasty things, I'll never subscribe to these nasty things, I will continuously make videos for everything they do to me. They make me feel this way, they make me think this way, they make this, I know. And I know it was orchestrated. I was like, that's why they were making me having this dialogue back and forth. Because this kid was going to come up. To all my target individuals, stay strong.